Russia is ripping chips out of washing machines and putting them in missiles. This is not a joke. This is real. Ukrainian forces found Western microchips inside captured Russian weapons. Chips designed for dishwashers, for refrigerators, for household appliances. Now, they're in guided missiles. This is what desperation looks like. And it shows how completely Russia's technology industry has collapsed. Semiconductors, microchips, the tiny components that power everything from smartphones to missiles. Russia can't make them, can't buy them legally. And without them, Russia's military and economy are dying. Today we're breaking down how sanctions destroyed Russia's tech industry, why Russia is stealing chips from appliances, and what this means for Putin's war machine. Let's start with the basics. Modern technology runs on semiconductors. These are the microchips inside computers, phones, cars, weapons systems, everything. Without semiconductors, nothing works. Your phone is a brick. Your car won't start. Your military can't function. Russia doesn't make advanced semiconductors. Never has. During the Soviet era, they tried. They failed. After the Soviet Union collapsed, they gave up. They just bought chips from the West, Taiwan, South Korea, the United States. It was cheaper, easier, and it worked, until it didn't. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, the West hit back with sanctions. Not just on oil and gas, on technology, specifically semiconductors. The United States, Europe, Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, all banned semiconductor exports to Russia. Completely. Overnight, Russia lost access to the chips that power modern life, and the impact has been catastrophic. Before the war, Russia imported billions of dollars worth of semiconductors every year. After sanctions, those imports dropped by over 70%. The chips Russia still gets are smuggled through third countries: China, Kazakhstan, Turkey. They're more expensive, lower quality, and there aren't enough of them. Here's the problem. Russia can't make its own advanced chips. Russian factories operate at 65 nanometer technology. That's 15 years behind the United States. 15 years. In the tech world, that's ancient. Modern chips are made at 5 nanometer or 3 nanometer scale. These are the chips in your iPhone, in advanced weapons systems, in artificial intelligence. Russia can't make anything close to that. Their best factories are stuck in 2010, and they can't upgrade. Building a modern semiconductor factory costs $20 billion. Minimum. It takes years, and it requires technology Russia doesn't have. The machines that make advanced chips come from the Netherlands, Japan, and the United States. All banned from export to Russia, so Russia is stuck. They can't make modern chips. They can't buy modern chips. And without modern chips, their entire tech industry is collapsing. Let's look at the car industry. Before the war, Russia produced 1.5 million cars per year. Modern cars are full of semiconductors, engine control, airbags, navigation, entertainment systems. Everything needs chips. After sanctions, Russian car production collapsed. In 2023, production dropped to 300,000 cars. That's an 80% decline. 80%. And the cars they're making now are worse. No airbags, no anti-lock brakes, no modern safety features. Because they don't have the chips, Russian automakers are literally building cars like it's 1990. And people are still buying them because there's no alternative. But it's a disaster. The military industry is even worse. Modern weapons are packed with electronics, guided missiles, radar systems, communication equipment, drones. All need semiconductors, advanced ones. Russia is running out. They're pulling chips out of dishwashers and washing machines to put in military equipment. That's not a joke, that's real. Ukrainian forces have found Western chips in captured Russian weapons. Chips that were meant for household appliances, smuggled into Russia, ripped out of consumer products, and installed in missiles. This is desperation, and it's not sustainable. Russia is also trying to buy chips from China. And China is selling, but there's a problem. Chinese chips aren't as good as Western chips. They're a generation or two behind, and China is being careful. They don't want to get hit with secondary sanctions, so they're limiting what they sell to Russia. Russia is paying double the price for chips compared to before the war, sometimes triple, and they're getting lower quality. This is economic strangulation, slow but effective. Now let's talk about Russia's tech sector. Before the war, Russia had a growing technology industry. Companies like Yandex, Kaspersky, Skolkovo Tech Hub. It wasn't Silicon Valley, but it was something. After the invasion, it collapsed. Thousands of tech workers fled Russia. They went to Armenia, Georgia, Turkey, Europe, anywhere but Russia. These were the best engineers, the smartest programmers, the people who could have built Russia's tech future. Gone. The companies that stayed are struggling. They can't get Western software. They can't access cloud services. They can't buy the hardware they need. And they can't compete internationally. Russia's tech industry is isolated, cut off, dying. The Russian government is trying to fix this. They've announced plans to build a domestic semiconductor industry. Billions of rubles in funding, new factories, new research programs. It sounds impressive, but it's not going to work. Building a semiconductor industry from scratch takes decades, not years, decades. Taiwan didn't become a chip powerhouse overnight. It took 40 years of investment, expertise, and access to global supply chains. Russia doesn't have 40 years. They don't have the expertise, and they don't have access to global supply chains. Even if Russia builds new factories, they'll be making outdated chips because they can't get the machines to make modern chips. And by the time they figure it out, the rest of the world will be another generation ahead. This is a technological death spiral. Russia is falling further and further behind, and they can't catch up. Here's what this means for the war. Russia's military is running on borrowed time. They're using up their stockpiles of Soviet-era equipment. Tanks from the 1980s, artillery from the 1970s. They're refurbishing old weapons because they can't build new ones. Not advanced ones, not without chips. Every missile Russia fires is one less missile they can't easily replace. Every drone they lose is harder to rebuild because they don't have the components, and they can't get them. Ukraine, meanwhile, is getting Western technology, modern weapons, advanced systems. The technology gap is widening, and Russia is on the wrong side of it. The long-term impact is even worse. Russia's economy is being pushed back decades. No modern cars, no advanced manufacturing, no tech industry. They're becoming a technological backwater. And once you fall that far behind, it's almost impossible to catch up. China caught up because they had access to Western technology. They learned, they copied, they improved. Russia doesn't have that access anymore. They're cut off, isolated, and falling behind. This is the price of invading Ukraine. Russia lost access to the technology that powers the modern world. And without that technology, Russia has no future, not as a modern economy, not as a military power, not as anything except a resource exporter stuck in the past. Russia's tech industry is dead, and Putin killed it. If you want more analysis on how sanctions are destroying Russia's economy and military, subscribe to Warefare Watch. We break down the economic war that's crippling Putin's regime. See you in the next one.